Welcome back. Now, the UN Refugee Agency says it will begin relocating 10,000 Mozambican refugees to better facilities inside neighboring Malawi. Refugees fled to Malawi in a bid to escape renewed fighting in their homeland. UNHCR says the Mozambicans began fleeing in December, and the exodus peaked in early March to over 250 people per day. In part two of my interview with the Malawi Ambassador to the US, Necton Mhura, I asked him if the fighting in Mozambique is causing any security threats to his country.
There have not been any security issues, largely because there is good relations between Mozambique and Malawi. That is unlikely to happen, and it has not happened so far.
Talk a little bit about infrastructure development. There was a time there was talk of a massive infrastructure development, building networks of roads. But then looking closely, some have told me that, things haven't been as fast moving as they had been projected or had been promised. What is the state of especially roads that connect the deep rural areas with the main cities so as to spur economic development, not only between those regions, but even along the highways?
Well, there has been indeed some slowdown in the construction of those roads, but the program for building those roads is still on. More roads are being built, like the Chichipa Karonga Road, the Palombe Road, the Mzimba Road, and various other roads are still on the program. They may have been slowed down because of the economic challenges the country is facing, but they are not off the table at all. Where funds are available, the government continues to build these roads. Because we believe as a government that's part of ensuring that the people in the rural areas, their welfare can only be improved by being connected to the markets, being connected to the rest of the country, and obviously to the rest of the world.
Every country tries to develop by, trying to gain from the different sectors, but there are particular sectors that person or a country looks at and says, these are really the mainstay of our economy, or this is what's going to help us to jump from where we are to levels of high economic growth and development. What are those?
For Malawi, let's start with the basics. We need to improve on electricity availability. We have some challenges there. Government has managed to get a project to increase electricity production in Malawi. Recently, the president signed an agreement for a coal-fired plant, which will increase the production of electricity almost by 50%. That's what we need to start with. We cannot move anywhere without electricity. But the other sector that is particularly important for Malawi is education. A country cannot develop without a personnel that is well educated. The president of Malawi, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, has actually emphasized the need to improve the education sector across the board, primary, secondary, as well as tertiary education. So there is emphasis on improving education. But above all, the country would like to improve on production of goods and services that it can export. So the motto, the policy is to get the country to increase industrialization so that it can move from an importing and consuming country to an exporting and producing country.